All right, we got our updated video here. Play it through all one motion here for you, and then we'll get the front views paired up from the original video and the new video, and then we'll let you see this video once more again at the end. All right, so we go back and we got a good high leg lift with a lot better posture. So that's very good to see. What we'll notice is as this foot's getting into the ground though, like we had before, it's still landing heel first. And if this whole foot was in the ground, our upper body would still be closed. But because the back foot has not fired yet, and the back hip hasn't started to drive yet, this foot does not want to go into the ground yet because the body has not gone forward yet. Now the body's going forward, but unfortunately the body is also rotating as it's going forward. So because that front heel is hitting the ground early and not still hovering in the air, so that when all the stuff in the backside goes forward, this is still airborne, so the whole body gets to go forward. And then the flat foot lands. And by then, hopefully these shoulders would still be sideways. But we can see once that front foot does fully get into the ground, we're almost essentially in the same position as we had been. But because we were in a taller, more athletic, relaxed position as we were going down the mound, and we finish here, we notice that we're not as down low as you are here. Obviously, these images aren't at the same height, but you can just see how we can still see your back foot, whereas here your knee is so down low to the ground that it's blocking that back foot. So you're in a stronger position with your body as a whole, but we just need to continue to have this upper body stay back for longer periods of time. And the only way we're going to be able to keep that to stay back for longer periods of time is if this front foot gets into the ground flat all at once. So we just need to continue to work on getting that foot to land more flush and getting the backside legs to do what they do before the foot hits the ground, not heel hits the ground. Now let's do those movements. And we can see because of that posture that you found yourself in at foot strike, that was a stronger, more stabilized position. We can see how that helps your finish come through more compared to the old one with your lower, this big old bend in the knee, and now you just come forward more than you are able to now rotate. So there are positives that we're seeing. The biggest positive that we want to achieve, though, is going to come by this front foot matching the slope of the mound. So we're just going to be doing a boatload of mound drills for you, learning how to match that heel and toe with the mound. And then also learn how to get that body continue to be more and more comfortable with that going around like you see here, that your body had not been able to do before. This up and around. We keep getting you off this mound so you can continue to learn how to do this movement downhill, down plane. Better and better, more consistent, more consistent. All right, we got your updated video here. Play through once for you to see what you look like. And then we'll throw up the old front view to compare with this new front view, so we can see the progression we've been able to make. And then we'll play your video one more time after that to discuss anything in addition that we want to bring to light. Okay, so at the moment of foot strike, we can see that this foot is wanting to go over here, but the leg has been going over here the whole time, and we didn't really rotate it back forward, which is fine if we are going to be able to get ourselves back out in front during release. What we're going to notice is as you come through to release, we're not able to get out in front. We're not able to get out in front of this leg, but instead we get flung around that leg. Okay, so again, like we talked about in your original video, there's nothing wrong with throwing across our body if the rest of our delivery and the rest of our body's movements agree with that stride. And so much of what I'm seeing in your rest of your body's movements is not in agreement with this stride direction. So we really need to continue to work on getting those hips to go forward towards your target down the mound instead of your hips going this way. We need them coming this way. We can see they just go there. And then you just don't have the ability yet to get around and out front of that cross-body stride. We do appear to have a little bit higher of a leg lift. You're always going to get a thumbs up from me on that. We also can see the eyes are on the target versus the eyes being down over here. So good job on seeing where you're trying to go so we can go there. But we can still see that the back knee is just collapsing over there. So now our body's momentum is going over there. So now this stride leg that's fully extended over here is not going to have that much chance of success to get back up underneath myself. And that's why it just gets kicked in front of yourself. And the rest of your body is not in agreement with going over there. The rest of your body wants to be here. If we're going to be a guy that strides across our body, our whole body agrees with it. And so much of your upper body is not. So again, that's just another visual for you to see why we need to and want to continue to get this stride in your hips going more towards the target, is so that this will be in agreement with that. We then get to that release and we can see just how much underneath the baseball you are. For whatever reason, like we can just see there's a big difference in these arm slots, or not arm slots, but the path that the hand is taking to get through the ball, right? We're just very much just flinging the baseball, just flipping it with our wrist in our hand, and just tremendous stress through the arm. We can see how vertical that chin is versus this chin is, yeah, it's up a little bit, but we can really see it going, trying to dart towards the target. This is just everything getting flung out here, and then everything then gets flung that way because this is the axis that we're trying to rotate around. And we just don't have that timing to be able to get it back out in front, and it just gets flung here. So syncs backed up again. See those eyes at the target, looking down, looking down, looking down, looking down. Now I'm looking up. And we really haven't gone anywhere until you look up, and now we start to go. All right? Here's your body. Now we're starting to gain ground. And now we're already in the ground. Now that heel's already in the ground. This doesn't give us much time to do the movements we need to do and get momentum the way we need to get it if our body is very stagnant during that leg lift. All right, we got your video here that'll play one time through. Second time, we'll get that original front view video next to this new video so that we can easily see what type of changes we've been able to make. And then we'll bring this video back up for us once more at the end. All right, so here we are at that moment of foot strike, and we can see this good direction of the lower body. We can see the lower body has rotated forward, very much like we see the original video in terms of the hip's ability to rotate. We see this glove staying into the armpit area just the way we like, and we can see maybe even a little extra of this front shoulder being able to stay in just a little bit longer than the original video. So good job on that. We can see one thing that we'll bring to light when we get both of your front and side video up after this is just going to be the depth at which your entire body is at this point in time. And what we're going to probably quickly learn once we do some of our drills next week, you're going to be able to produce more power from a stronger position, and a stronger position is going to be just one that has a little less flexion in these knees, a little less bend. We're going to notice that we're almost like in a 90-degree bend with our knees here. We want to think about being a little bit taller than that so we can throw down this mountain more. Right now, you're so low to the ground that when you go to throw this ball, the ball's height out of your hand is not going to offer much ability to travel down plane as it goes to the batter that much because it's already so low to the ground. So as we come through here, your back knee is almost touching the ground, and this knee is at least a 90, if not maybe even a little less than 90, but probably at 90. So our whole body is just very close to the ground right now. So that means this ball, as it travels to the target, doesn't have the ability to hold up until it's going to want to start to go down. And now we got to hope that it's thrown with enough velocity to stay in the zone long. It's also going to be tough to throw breaking balls from there. Because again, now that ball is going down and you're already starting it so low that if that ball starts to pop up out of your hand, it's going to be a very easy tell to the batter that it's not a fastball coming. One thing I also want to note is we do have a higher leg lift, and we also have it on a slight, or it's also not just going straight up like your original one was. However, it may be going, it may be going too much knee towards second base rather than thinking knee go towards like shortstop. However, we'll be able to talk about that when we get the side view back up again. So we'll let this now play through the moment of foot strike, getting you to release. We can see that chin doing a good job trying to stay on target as we come through. And what we're going to notice how you're falling this way. And it probably has a lot to do with just how low to the ground you are right now. and the inability to be able to continue to rotate the shoulders and the hips through a firm front leg, because this front leg is so bent, it's not firm. And now as it's trying to get firm, it's kicking you this way. So if we watch that from this side view again, let's just first note how aggressively back this leg is going, the kneecap towards second base, which will keep our hips, yes, closed, but that type of leg lift is only as good as you're now going to be able to maintain this angle back. So if we watch how, boom, now this leg is already to here, kneecap to us. So that curling or closing of your hips very quickly became an opening of the hips. However, you do a good job of maintaining the straightness and not allowing things to open up early on you. So therefore, I'm not going to say that we need to look at changing that leg lift, but just know that the angle at which you are raising this leg back at is an aggressive one. If you like it, sweet, let's continue it. If you have been forcing yourself to try to get an angle to your leg lift, congratulations, you've done it so well. You are at the extreme end of the spectrum now, and we can begin to taper it back if you would like. So that way it's not so extreme. But if you like it, we can continue to roll with it, because the thing that could be detrimental with it is not occurring. Let's now just go, again, like we said, it's going to be a lot easier to see from this way, just how close you are to the ground with that back knee. And then as you go to throw, it kind of only gets closer, which makes it tough for you to get around a firm front side when the front side is so bent. And now, yeah, you're able to get it going forward like we want, but we're not able to then also bring it around because of how much that front leg is bent. So something we can be thinking about is land this leg with less bend to begin with. And that will help this entire lower half be taller when it lands, because we are able to get the upper body to be in a great spot to throw at this moment of foot strike. We just want the lower body to be in a stronger position to handle all the power that comes after it. All right, we got your new video here synced up for you to watch, and then we'll throw the old front view next to this new front view, so that way we can see what type of progression we've been able to make, and then we'll bring that video back up here again at the end to discuss anything further that we want to address. So as we wait here for your old distracted self to make this delivery, we will be able to see that when your old self front foot got in, how much that upper body was rotating forward. And we just kind of notice when that foot hit the ground, it was kind of on the inside part of it and the heel hitting first, and then boom, the rest of it rolled over. We go back to your new video, and what we're going to see is that that heel now is hitting a lot bigger, and it's taking a lot longer for it to get into the ground. And because it's taking longer to get into the ground, we can see that upper body has no chance to stay back, and it just starts to come through. Let's also notice why the shoulders start to come through. Notice where your elbow constantly goes. Constantly goes there, right? But how do we work all of our 90-90 throw-in drills? That elbow is going towards the target and our glove is up underneath our armpit already. and then the elbow goes into our ribs as we throw. You never get into that position with your shoulder, elbow to us, and that glove being here. And because of that, the elbow can keep going this way, and now that's opened your shoulders early. In addition to this heel taking a long time to get into the ground, or I'm sorry, in addition to the toes taking a long time to get caught up with the heel into the ground, is also why the shoulders come through. But that front side glove is not helping you stay closed at all. Because yes, we are having it get to a spot at foot strike that we would say, like, okay, like it's not outside your body and it's not falling away from your body after the throw, but how you're moving your glove during hand separation is opening your shoulders up early, and this front foot still not quite matching the surface of the mound is losing out on your ability to separate yourself, and now you're stuck with just pushing this baseball to try to throw, which is not going to produce power or arm health the way we want to be a pitcher. And it's also going to make it very difficult to be consistent in the strike zone because we're just kind of flinging and pushing it. We can see how you finish that throw very much represents how you have the ability to make the throw. From this position, all you have is a push, push, push. And what's my back hip do? It just kind of also pushes forward, pushes forward, pushes forward. When this motion is a rotation, I need to be rotating my shoulders to throw. I need to be continuing to rotate my hips through that throw, continuing to rotate my shoulders through that throw. And we can see, because the position you got yourself in, it's just that push and walk it forward, push and walk it forward, push and walk it forward. So we really need to revisit all of our learning how those drills that we did to get that front foot to land flat into the ground. And then we also have to do those drills with the PVC pipe and finishing our glove, so that way it doesn't swoop out. We need to do our 90-90 throw-in drills where that glove is already there. That's going to be a big part of all this, right? Because we see your hand is just instantly to that 90-90. We don't have any of that rhythm in our hand separation. And now you're here, and it's always from here this way. It's never loading behind your head. If you were to punch someone and start from back there, it ain't going to be a powerful punch. We need to load it back. When you go to hit, you don't just stride and let your hands come in front of your head. You're loading up those hands. You're pushing them back. You're loading them up, whatever it may be. You're creating that tension in your body. Right here, there's no tension, and it just turns into a push. And then there's the walk. So we got a lot of work to get to, and we got a lot of focus and attention to detail in the 1 hour that we have together each week to start to chip away at these things, because we got 4 or 5 months to really start to change old ways and create new muscle memory. And it's going to take a lot of focus, a lot of attention to detail, and a lot of extra work at home if we want to be able to clean these things up. We can definitely do it, but it's going to take a lot of hard work and focus on your end. All right, bud. You got your video that'll play here. All one motion, and then we'll put the old front view next to the new front view, so that way you can compare and contrast the two to see the progression you've been able to make. And then we will throw that new video back up at the end to discuss anything further that we want to talk about. Okay, so here we are at that moment of foot strike. since everything you're wearing is the same, this is the new videos on the left, old videos on the right. So we'll play that again for you. New video on the left, old video on the right. Okay, so moment of that front foot getting into the ground, into the ground. We can see that that front shoulder is still opening early, and because it's opening early, we get into this slight early tilt. And because we're in this slight early tilt, we can see that this elbow can't stay back because of that front shoulder opening early. So now our arm has begun to throw slightly sooner than our shoulders want to truly rotate forward. So we got to find a way to be able to keep chin over shoulders with glove into that armpit area. Continue to hold this spot as this front foot gets into the ground. Because we, at this point in time, we just lost at least 1, if not more, miles an hour on your fastball. We just added 0.001 extra stress onto that arm to make this throw. And we potentially just lost 0.1% of our accuracy, right? Even if everything is just that little and we can avoid it by keeping that front shoulder in, as a competitive pitcher, we're looking to get it. So we got to keep fighting to keep this shoulder in at the moment of foot strike. You're excellent right here. If we could have that front foot in the ground right now, we're winning because we can see, look what's back here. Here's the hand loading. Oops. Hand loading up. Boom. Let's get the foot in the ground right now. So what I want you to think about is when you're striding here, we're not just setting the foot down. We're not just placing the foot down. No, you are slamming that front foot into the ground. Drive it in there. Don't just set it down. And the only way you can drive that front foot in the ground is, yes, we can use that front leg to do it, but we also need to drive that back leg to get the front leg into the ground. So you're thinking, drive my front leg into the ground, but the part of the ground I'm trying to drive it into is out here. And that will mean this foot darts its way into there. It puts a hole in the mound. Okay? So that way we can get it in the ground now instead of now. But we're continuing to do a good job of keeping that head on the target as his backside comes up and around. One improvement we can see that we have been making is that glove getting tighter to the body at that moment of foot strike, right? It's kind of loosened down here. It's more up in here. And then because of that, we can see a little bit tighter of a rotation with the body. And we're able to stay in frame a little bit longer because of that, which is great. We can see we're able to stay more connected on this front foot for longer as we rotate through, which helps us be able to protect ourselves better on a potential line drive comeback, and most importantly, be able to field our position in all 4 directions: third, first, home, and anything back. So we'll get that front and side back out again. One thing that's going to help you be able to get this front foot in the ground more aggressively is if we are not stuck here for the entire leg lift. Okay? You got the front of your body, and then we got the center of your head. The leg is already to the top, and your body has not gone anywhere down the mound yet. We have no momentum. We're not shuffling. Our leg has gone almost all the way. Yep, now it has gone all the way straight. And our body has not gone forward yet. We've just straightened out this front leg and kind of kicked it out in front of us. And in fact, where has our head gone now? Backwards. So our front foot is out in front and our head is backwards, yet our body has gone nowhere. Our body is trying to go forward. Our head is now starting to go forward a little bit. Now we're starting to try to really go forward, and that front foot wants to hit the ground. Right? And we can see how this backside hasn't had the time yet to really, do its thing. So all of our problems that we're seeing right now, quote unquote problems, are going to be solved by get it up, get it going. Here is your top of your leg lift. By the time it starts to get to here or here, we need to see this getting this way, this way, this way. But we can see that leg gets to there, then it gets to there, then it gets down to there, then it gets down to there, then it gets down to there, and now we start to go. I haven't done this with anyone else, but because everything else for you is so clean, we'll do this very quickly. All right. Let's just use someone that I think we've used before already with you guys, so you're familiar with. Okay. Ben Joyce. We'll get the fast one out of the way. Okay. Now, here he is. Let's get this all the way over here. Bam. Let's get those same lines drawn. The line through the center of his head and the line through his front hip. All right. Before we do that, let's figure out his leg lift height like we did yours. So, boom, here's the top of his leg lift. Okay, so let's go back and draw our center of his head line. It's not the straightest, but it's okay. And then the front of his hip line. All right, so now as he lifts this leg, we can see his body is already starting to go towards that target around here. So now as that leg's to the top, we can see that momentum is already going towards the target. Towards the target. So then when the leg comes down, he's really able to accelerate that towards the target. And this position that he is in here at the moment that his front foot hit the ground is your position here. After your foot's already hit the ground, into the ground, into the ground, in the ground. Now I'm starting to come through. We can just see the difference in the upper bodies. One thing that I think we also talked about with that 90-90 is just noticing that we're a little low here with that arm. And that's because we're starting to have things come through just a little early on us. All right, so we got to think, load this hand up. We see we're doing a lot of dropping the elbow down. The plane at which this ball is on doesn't go up very much compared to how much the elbow plane that you're on right now, how much that elbow goes down more than the hand goes up. We want the hand to be going up more than your elbow is going down right now. But we can get to that after we get this front foot to drive into the ground. Drive your foot into the ground. Drive your foot into the ground. And that's going to be easier by getting your body going during your leg lift instead of waiting to get your body going until your foot is in front of you, in front of you, in front of you, versus get it going during the leg lift, during the leg lift, during the leg lift, during the leg lift, during the leg lift. All right, we got your video synced up here that'll play through for you, and then we'll put your front view of your old video next to this new video, and that way you can see the progression you've been able to make. And then we have this same front view and side view after to be able to talk about any additional things we want. All right, so what we're going to notice here, obviously new videos on the left, old videos on the right. We still have this very big windmill swoopy glove path, right? Everything that we've been working with, especially when we get to our 90-90 in those throwing drills, that glove is tucked into our armpit with our shoulder and elbow going towards the target. And we can see we now, before your old video over on this side, we see that this elbow wants to do some bending around this point in time, whereas now it's going even more straight and even more over here than it was before. I mean, if we just kind of drew this to this, that's very much different than this and this. Not kind of at a loss for words seeing these two up side by side, but that's do take something away from this positive, and that is that we are seeing your front foot and knee try to get more rotated towards the target at this moment in time. And because of that, the foot is able to get itself into the ground a little bit quicker, a little bit sooner. We can also see that the upper body, even though the glove is swooping out and opening your shoulders early, they're still back more than that original video. But we can still see that back foot hasn't done any of the rotation that we've been working on. All the things that we've been doing to get that backside to fire and turn over, it's kind of still just dragging. The back knee then can't really rotate the way we want to, and now we just kind of got like a dead fish back there that we're just trying to pull along. So we definitely really need to work on this glove and all the finishing that we've been working on and where to get it during all of our throwing drills. Because as soon as you throw on the mound, it's reverting back to old ways and even new additional ways on that old way. So we really got to keep working on getting that glove in so that way it's not hindering our arm's health or our velocity and accuracy. And we really need to work on getting this backside leg to fire and rotate itself rather than just kind of folding and collapsing in on itself. That way we can create some power that the body can propel the throw with instead of just relying on your upper body to spin out and then just fling this baseball to the side, really getting everything flung around yourself instead of throwing forward. It's getting kind of flung around, which isn't the greatest for arm health and definitely not for accuracy. So here is that front and side view synced up again for us to be able to see those things that we just discussed with the front view and how that looks in the side view, right? That glove just really swooping on out there. And then this knee trying to rotate here. But because the foot is not in a position to rotate, it just really can't. And everything just kind of gets kicked out from underneath you. Notice how everything just gets kicked out from underneath you. Right? That's not a rotation forward, that's a slide out. And now we're stuck on trying to make this throw from this less than ideal position. And that glove is just still way out there. It's not even trying to get itself back into the chest. So nothing here really is showing that. I mean, a little bit here, the glove's kind of coming in, or is that just your body's trying to get balanced? Either way, we really need to work on this glove big time. The glove path and its finish, and firing the lower body, rotating the lower body is going to be important. Rotate the lower body and glove path. All right, bud, we got your video here synced up for you to watch, and then we'll throw the old front video next to this new front video so that way we can compare and contrast the differences, and then we'll revisit this video here at the end to discuss anything further. Okay, so we got both these paws at that moment of that front foot getting itself fully into the ground. And what we're going to notice is almost everything looks almost the same, except maybe there's a little less hunch for a little less amount of time in the new video compared to the old. But all in all, we're finding ourselves with the lower body looking very much the same, which there's not anything that we don't not like in here, right? Things are relatively pretty good here. The unfortunate thing is that we can still see that these upper bodies have already begun to significantly rotate before it was time to rotate, which is time to rotate is after this front foot hits the ground. So now we just don't have very much upper lower half separation, which now forces this throw to be made with a lot of arm instead of a lot of the kinetic chain, that whipping effect of the body. We can see, because of that, this output of the throw for you is really up. And we can see how your hand and your wrist is positioned at release. Your hand and your wrist are still trying to cup this baseball. We're still really trying to hold on to this thing because it's not quite time to throw the baseball yet because it's still going up. And what we're going to notice when we get that side video back up, that it's so aggressively up during certain pitches that your entire body gets almost lifted up off the ground during the throw. So we'll throw these two again for you to kind of see how almost everything looks the same as before, including the glove being in front of you at the start, but then as we go to throw, the glove kind of getting pushed away from your body. Why? Because you're trying to push this throw, and just your whole body is just trying to push it. instead of rotate it. And if we rotated it, we want to keep that glove tight to our body as we rotate. So here's the side view again for us to see with along with that front view, for us to be able to see that jumping or leaping effect that I talked about. Boom. Because of this arm already starting to come through early, and it going up, 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 up. Oh no, it's trying not to go up anymore. But yet all that momentum of your body was being sent up, that front foot has to get off the ground and go back up underneath the rest of your body. Boom. Look where that toe's at now. And that's everything your body's doing. Just try to get this baseball to be released out in front of you and on a not upward trajectory. And that's going to significantly hinder, and we can just see then that output after is just your entire body is running forward, because that's how you're trying to throw the baseball. You're trying to push it forward rather than rotate it around to throw. And that's very, very unhealthy for our arm, and it's going to very much reduce your velocity. And both of those are things that, as a pitcher, we're looking to be pretty good at. So we really want to work on keeping that front shoulder closed, controlling that glove, and throwing the baseball down versus launching the body up and trying to fling the ball down. All right, we got your new video here synced up for you to watch, and then we will put the old front view next to this new front view for us to compare and contrast, and then we'll put this video back up to discuss anything further. Okay, so we can see that the moment of foot strike, our bodies look almost exactly the same. The only difference that we really see is that from shoulder to elbow is still the same. It's just from elbow to wrist is here versus elbow to wrist being here. And then thumb to wrist and thumb to wrist, right? Those are really the only differences. Everything else is almost a mirror image. The only difference on this side is that we got this arm laying back just a little bit with the wrist soft versus the arm being up more with a little bit more vertical wrist. So we still have a glove issue, right? It looks like you're trying to finish this glove right now already, instead of allowing the glove to still go out the same way you have always done. Allow it to go out, and then from here, finish it just like we do our 90-90 throwing drills from. Just like you're doing here, we do right now at this point in time with this glove separation. But because you've been trying to keep it finish, it can't hold a finish forever. It's going to eventually get over here. You need the glove to be over here to buy that time, to buy that time, to buy that time, to buy that time, to then start to finish, to then start to finish, to then be finished. And because you don't buy any time, you're already in that finish. It's going to be pretty tough to hold that finish until the finish is now over here. So we changed the one good thing about the glove path in order to try to fix the bad thing that glove path led to. So we were trying to work on it, but the way we really held this forever from the very get-go, it made it impossible to actually get the correct change at the end because that front shoulder is still getting, excuse me, opened up. We can see that this front leg, specifically this knee, is not getting rotated at all towards the target until now, and now is when the ball is out. So those drills that we did of getting that front leg to rotate to the target, I believe that was week 2, the first week after we got the videos with the bands, getting that front leg to rotate to the target. We really need to revisit those drills at home and work on this movement here, that front leg stepping towards your target, and when that front foot lands, that kneecap going towards that target. The front foot can still be slightly closed with the knee still forward, but the amount that it's closed here is going to make it next to impossible for that knee to get forward. Because we can't really throw the baseball if this knee is wobbling this way, wobbling this way, wobbling this way as you're trying to throw. That is not a healthy way for a pitcher to go about making hundreds of throws week after week. We can then also go to the side view again with the front view next to it and see how we gotta know that what our good set position is, right? And if this right here is a good strong set position, we got to reevaluate what we think strong is. Okay, we got to start strong to stay strong. I doubt you'd want to be in this type of position to start hitting, right? We need to have a good base underneath our body. And then we got to raise our leg up to pitch. We got to get this knee up to our chest. And because you're not in a strong position, we just come out, we're instantly just like falling. We're just instantly just like stepping like as if we're playing catch. There's not a whole lot of time to do the movements we need to. And now we can see when that front foot gets into the ground, just how nothing on that lower body has really been able to rotate yet. So now as your back shoulder rotates, so does your back hip. As your back knee starts to really rotate, so does your back elbow. Right? As soon as your front hip really starts to open up and block everything, that's when everything is already through. Right? That front knee is rotating, but the ball is now coming out. We need everything in that lower body to be nice and strong and sturdy for us as we're trying to throw. And we can see on this particular pitch, because our lower body didn't do anything at the moment, we can see what's it doing right now is just spinning in place, spinning in place, spinning in place, spinning in place. So if it's just spinning in place, it's not being propelled forward. And that's why when you get done with the throw, it can just stay behind you. Nothing in this throw is being launched forward. It was just being spun in place. All right, we should never, ever, 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 ever be able to throw a fastball on the mound with intensity and keep the back foot back like that. If so, that is putting tremendous stress on our arm to try to slow this throw down in a very tight window with extreme stretching of the body. Let the back leg come up and around like it did on that front view pitch. Every time. Up and around. Up and around. All right, here's our new video synced up. After this, we'll get your old video next to the new front video so you can compare and contrast your body's positionings. And then we'll get this video back up at the end to discuss anything that we need to in more detail. So we'll get this pause at that moment of foot strike for both of you guys. All right. And what we're going to notice is the lower body is almost identical in its positioning and in its alignment. And that's in a positioning of the hips really going this way and the upper body kind of going out that way. And that's more apparent in this new video than the old video. And the reason for that is if we notice this aggressive tilting back towards second base that you're doing in the new video versus the taller approach in the original video. So now when you get here, this body that was taller isn't as arched back, whereas this body, you're really like tilting back towards second base. You're really getting this glove up high. Now it's like above your head and opened as if you're going to catch a ball being thrown from center field. And now we're pulling this glove down. And when you pull the glove down that aggressively from this position here, that's really going to start to launch the backside there. And we can see now as you're getting that front foot down into the ground, that arm is wanting to start to come through before the foot's in the ground. Even though your shoulders aren't all that out, the way they've been going ha, ha, ha has begun to rotate things early, and we can in fact see that this right here is that throwing arms elbow coming through. And what we're going to notice now is as you go to throw, just how much this front knee wobbles, and how much this back foot just kind of collapses to the side. That's because that's the only thing that you can really do to try to get this hip to come through is for the knee to buckle and for the foot to kind of go that way. And that gets this to start to come through. And now it's just a little bit tougher. We can see just how much more stress is in your face trying to get everything going. And if we watch, everything's relaxed. And now you get this tilt back. And now you got to try to just force and muscle your way to come through. Where before, we're like a lot more relaxed. And now it's, I'm coming. Here I come. And that's when the tension gets in your face. Now that we got this like new like angling back and it'll be easier to see from the side, it's just making you have to muscle this throw a lot more. You're working harder now to try to throw harder and instead of working more smoothly and effortlessly to throw harder. So this is just a classic example of a young guy trying to learn how to throw harder by just trying to muscle up rather than learning that it comes through by flowing energy through your body. The only way energy can flow through your body is if we're relaxed and smooth. So now we got just this muscle trying to bring things through. And we can see that the most violent of the hand going down is still after that ball is out. And we're looking for that effect to still be with that ball in the hand. And a lot of it's coming just because we're rotating that lower body as we're trying to rotate that throw. So a lot of that rotation is going this way in the beginning instead of being able to go forward. We'll see that more in this side view here of that big drop my body down, 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 down. Drop my body down. Going straight down this elevator here. And now the only way you can get going is if you get weight to tilt back onto this back leg, because the only way you can go forward now is this back leg pushing you forward. And this back leg can only push you forward if you got some weight over that back leg. But unfortunately for that back leg, you got this whole mass of this front leg and this front hip that's way out in front of it. So that means you got to get this upper body to tilt back to try to counter that weight in efforts to drive your body out. And we can see that the driving of the body out is being occurred or being forced by that front leg going forward more than it is by the back leg driving you forward or by momentum going forward. So we need to get in a stronger set position so we don't have to rock ourselves back. So that way, before this leg gets to the top, we're already going. This leg comes down, 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 down as you go down, 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 down before you ever start to go forward, 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 forward. And that's probably why this glove wants to go way up, because it's like, yo, we need to try to create power. Let's just tilt and tug. Let's tilt and pull. Let's tilt and pull, which is fine if you're a right fielder trying to throw a dude out at third. But we are a pitcher trying to throw a fastball at the knees from 60 feet, 6 inches away. We need to get that bad boy to go down in order to do that. So we need to revisit how you are thinking about creating power, because you get in such this big tilt both back this way, which then goes into this way, in a position from here that is just very spinny. You see that heel just comes to us. There's none of you going towards the target during this movement. That's how we create power. And right now we're just spinning up, spinning up, spinning up, spinning up. Why are we spinning up? Because we had to load it up so much, which is fine if we're a right fielder trying to throw a dude out at third. But for a pitcher, less than ideal for arm velocity or arm health and arm velocity.